Union of the Unknowns, a podcast dedicated to the exploration of modern culture, presents a weekly digest of current events that may have slipped past your radar. This is not your mama's news.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Not Your Mama's News, presented by the Union of the Unknowns. I'm your host, Keel Thor. With me are the unknowns. She's a woman of high sophistication. Ashley, think, change, repeat.
Hello, everyone. How are we?
She's a true Sheila from the land down under, Stella Q.
Yeah, g'day.
And representing the free state of New Hampshire at his Toonstead, he's the cool one. It's Toons.
Hey y'all, Merry Christmas,
What's
Happy
up,
New Year. Good to see y'all.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everybody. This is a very special episode of Not Your Mama's News. For one, it's the last episode we're going to have for 2023. So we're going to do some 2023 talking, and great. Great show. So let's start it off with Stella. I think she's got a cool story about a video game computer.
It's not a video game computer, although some might refer to them as games. This is the world's first supercomputer capable of brain-scale simulation being built at the Western Sydney University. It is based on a neuromorphic system, which what that means is that it's technology based on, it mimics the biological processes of the brain itself. So it's much, much different to the way the old standard old archaic computers work, the ones that we've got. So the main difference about the way they operate is that it's much more efficient and it requires a lot less power, thereby creating a lot less heat, etc. And it's also capable of all sorts of things like you can sort of, join them together. They're not like standalone things like, a lot of computers I know. You can kind of join them together, and because of the way they work, they can be made very, very small. So they have the application of, completely changing everything basically, which sounds like that's what's going to happen. This particular computer goes online as of 2024. It will be at the University of Western Sydney. This is a collaboration of researchers from such a university and the University of Sydney, Melbourne, and Aachen in Germany, where all the great technology comes from.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm not really sure. I haven't done a hugely big deep dive on this. I've read a little bit about it, but there's not a whole lot really talking about exactly what it's going to do when it goes online. But I guess it's just sort of a work in progress by the sound of it. But it does sound like it's certainly going to revolutionize computing. And of course, it's going to be very useful for AI. But, it's sort of like, well, we're teaching the computers basically how to think. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Skynet,
So,
baby. Skynet.
I had a question, Stel. Did the article mention anything about quantum computing? Because I know that there's been some concern about quantum computing and that being able to perhaps break encryption, make encryption irrelevant, that kind of thing. Now, my understanding is that basically the spy agencies already can pretty much do that. Like if there's anything that they want to break and decrypt, then they can do it. But I also am coming at this from a place of not really knowing the difference between what is this type of supercomputer versus quantum computing, all of that kind of stuff. And I just thought I would ask if it mentioned that kind of thing.
Not a sausage. No. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all about quantum. It was not mentioned in this particular article. I don't fully understand how quantum computing compares to this particular process.
Yeah.
So
that was
I'm not.
my question. Yeah.
Yeah. It possibly is the same. I'm not really sure, but it does sound like this is a completely new. Well, new. So they're telling us, but it does sound like it's a very much different approach. So if anybody out there knows how a quantum computer works, you want to just type it quickly into YouTube and let us know. But it does sound like it's going to be quite groundbreaking. The supercomputer is aptly named Deep South, which pays homage to the IBM's True North system, which initiated efforts to build machines simulating large networks of spiking neurons. And Deep Blue, which was the first computer to become a world chess champion. So they're sort of the computer mentors of Deep South. The name is also a nod to its geographical location, being Australia, of course. What else is interesting about this? Let me see. Scalability, yes. So the addition of I don't really understand, but there's somehow they can program the hardware. So this is some sort of difference of how it works, therefore making it more efficient. The language is based on Python, and it says here under configuration, the development of this. So there's like a front end. They've developed some sort of front end that enables researchers to use the platform without having a deep knowledge of the hardware configuration. So it's sort of, I have sort of Windows kind of came to mind, an equivalent, like instead of having to get into the guts of the, command lines and all that, Windows came along to make it accessible to everyone. So I don't know if that's a fair comparison or not. I'm way out of my league with computers here. So yeah, artificial intelligence. By mimicking the brain, we will be able to create more efficient ways of understanding AI processes than our current models. So yeah, don't know what's ahead with this thing, but it's on the radar now.
Well, it sounds exciting. Any advancement in computing is always a good thing, right? I mean, faster computing means we don't have to wait for our games to load as long and all that sort of cool stuff, right?
There'll be much more convenience. Yes.
Mhm.
Yep, definitely. It'll sync faster to the chip in your brain.
That's right. Yeah, probably just Bluetooth.
Right.
I mean, the world needs to be sped up a little more, doesn't it? We're just not fast enough yet.
Move that treadmill that we're all on faster,
Yeah, get
So
the whip on those guinea pigs.
Or conveyor belt. We're all on a conveyor belt. And we're just going to fall off the edge at some point. It's taking too long to get there, I think.
I think that's how it's powered. You've got to get on your conveyor belt and run.
So I don't know if this is going to offend you, Keel, but I will say allegedly to this whole story. It kind of feels like Neil deGrasse to me. Kind of feels like the moon landing. It kind of feels like dinosaurs. I don't know. They keep telling us these great stories, but
like they're putting something out and going, "Hey, look at this latest thing," but really they've been using it for the last 40 years, type thing.
Yeah.
I think they talk a big game, but I have I'll believe them when I see it.
I think it's just at the very beginning, according to the alleged article.
I mean, this story, I haven't read it, but from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like it's quantum computing sounds groundbreaking, but this just sounds like, oh, we've figured out a more efficient way of, adding computing power to existing systems kind of thing. You can probably multiply it faster by adding a whole array of computers and just plugging it into the next one, right? It's spanning computers across distances, that sort of thing. Or did I miss the point of the story?
It really doesn't go into a whole lot of detail, to be quite honest. It's just saying, here's this thing, and it's going online next year.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to change everything, basically. Small statement.
We'll see.
We will see.
I think that Tunes posits a fair thought here, because there is a lot of things that I think they are trying to put out there in order to cause fear or to cause us to think like they are the know-all, end-all, be-all, right? So I definitely think it's worth it. Obviously, I don't know enough to say yes or no. I've heard crazy stuff about the technology that they do have. However, we do know that they want to inflate the opinion that the everyday person has of of them, right? Because if you think that you're so outnumbered or outmanned or outcomputed or whatever,
Out-teched, yeah.
out-teched, that's a better way to say it, then maybe you feel like, well, why bother? So it contributes perhaps a little bit more to that demoralization.
So
And then Drizzle Manufacturing Reality said Google supposedly reached quantum supremacy in 2018, but it hasn't translated to any of their products. So there you go.
We allegedly went to the moon in
Oh no, I think he's gone to the moon. Oh, he's back.
Am I
That was a
back?
quick
Am I
trip.
back? Am I back?
He didn't really go to the moon.
With less computing power than we have on our cell phones than what I'm streaming on right now. So if this quantum computer can get around, I mean, are we gonna go to Pluto and figure out if that's a planet? Or
okay, first of all, how dare you? It's not a planet.
Okay. Whoa.
Pluto's making gay, didn't you know?
It was a planet until I was 25 years old. I don't know.
Yeah, don't discount Pluto just because he's a little guy.
Yeah, listen, I just listen to everything that Neil deGrasse Tyson says to me.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds to me creating a computer that works like the brain is kind of like the holy grail, isn't it? Really, I mean, that's what they want. The brain is far superior. So the way they've described it is it mimics the biological processes using hardware to efficiently emulate large networks of spiking neurons at 228 trillion synaptic operations per second, rivaling the estimated rate of operations in the human brain.
Okay.
They can rival it. So yeah, it just sounds like the way it works and set up is like completely different. I mean, I could read out a little bit of tech stuff, but it's very boring and I don't really understand it anyway. So,
well,
if anyone wants to go and read about that, let us know.
We'll post
translate it into something.
Of course, the link will be in our show notes, so everybody can go.
Yes.
Go right.
And that was from the westernsydney.edu.au website itself. So that's coming from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Before we leave that story, I couldn't agree more with this comment. They want us to think we're already beaten. That is
100%.
100% correct.
Definitely.
Yeah. But it's so not true. It is so not true. So
that's just the psychological warfare continues.
That's it. 100%.
Just another prop.
We also have collecting unfiltered news tube service whiling out as usual. And their New Year's resolution is to start eating more crumpets.
Well, my friend, I have just eaten a crumpet.
And by crumpets, she means English muffin.
I stand with crumpets.
Get a sourdough started. My wife's been cooking some great bread.
Ooh, sourdough's good stuff.
It's great.
It's such a process.
It is, but
speaking of sourdough,
makes the house smell good.
Man, my family used to live out in. We didn't live in San Francisco, but we lived within proximity of San Francisco when I was a kid, and boy, did they have the best sourdough bread out there! I tell you what.
Yeah,
can't beat it.
Why would that be?
My understanding is also that they have excellent rice-a-roni. It's known as the San Francisco treat. So
correct. Well, I think the original sourdough, whatever yeast starter, whatever thing that is, was invented or created or discovered or whatever out in that region. And so all the sourdough that is made nowadays is a descendant of that mother molecule thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have the original stuff out there. So
before they ruin it.
Yeah.
And let it get stolen by a flash mob or like a
prime
smash
flash
and grab.
Right. But since
rioters,
a wad of yeast isn't worth,
Racist.
more than $700, they're not going to try to stop them.
So I'm not the expert, but Lanny be the one to talk to. But you can start your own sourdough with just like the yeast in the air.
Yeah,
it's magic, and I don't understand it. But you can just like collect the yeast that's in the air,
wild,
and then start your own. Yeah.
Is it
you can
yeast
so it doesn't have to come.
Isn't it just bacteria?
Sure, it's magic.
I don't know what the relationship between yeast and bacteria is. Maybe a yeast may be a type of bacteria. I don't know the biology behind it, but yeast is what you use to ferment things like beer and bread and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, you know what Tesla said. Everything is about energy, frequency, vibration, and yeast.
Yeah, put it on a t-shirt.
Yep.
Magic.
All
Can have
right.
that one, Lanny.
Speaking of magic, I've got an interestingly magical story here. There's a study recently where they have discovered that tears from women, biological female humans, reduces aggressive behavior in men, biologically male humans. Like they've found
Genderist.
that the tears, female tears, doesn't work for male tears. Females' tears, women's tears, has some chemical in it, some
Venom.
something that when men smell it, they become more docile.
I think
And
it's
I
yeast.
think that is fucking amazing.
Chloroform.
I would agree with you, but I would even wonder why would they bother finding this out, because they already know how to make men more docile, which is feeding them the stuff that's turning the damn frogs gay.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
soy
No,
teas.
they used the first part of the study or the experiment was done with rats, and they found that there was less aggressive behavior amongst male rats when they were around female tear rats, whatever. And then they did the study on people, and they the way they worked it is they had the men in the study were playing like a game. I don't know what game it was or exactly how it worked, but it was a competitive thing that they were competing against each other, and there was a way to like cheat and then get revenge on the cheat, and so there was like a deliberate means of making the men like angry at each other, and they at some point while they're playing, they let the men smell a vial of liquid, and some of the liquid was women's tears and some of it was just placebo saline, and the guys that were smelling the tears were less aggressive towards their opponents than it just makes sense. I mean, it's something evolutionary.
Sounds like another one of those bullshit investigations. Really.
I don't know
Same
why
old.
it would be anything otherwise, but they've found there's no question, like there's something in women's tears that makes men soft.
I have heard this study
Emotionally.
in the past.
Yeah,
but I don't want to sound like more of a misogynist than I already sound.
it's
so.
It's
No
a natural defense. As far as I can tell.
You're walking a very thin line, mister.
Well, here's the thing, though. You would think, I guess it would depend on the situation, the circumstance, but sometimes if you're a male and your woman is crying, then you might need to get more aggressive because you might need to be a protector. So I don't know. But
well, I think in my mind, it works kind of like if you're close enough to the woman's face so that you can actually smell their tears and elicit this sort of biological response, that would be the proximity that you would want the male of the species to be more docile, right?
Well,
right.
I think I figured out what I'm doing next year. I'm going to release a spray can of women's tears.
Walk into the bar and just start.
New product line.
Right.
You heard it here first. Interesting. Did you know that Intel have actually created a neuromorphic, there's that word again, neuromorphic chip that can sniff out hazardous chemicals. So they actually, maybe smell-o-vision is not that far away. That's actually sniffing in, not putting out. Thank goodness. So yes, that's a thing.
I saw one of the articles I was looking at for tonight was a story about horseshoe crabs. Apparently, they use horseshoe crab blood to determine hazardous chemicals or hazardous materials. I don't know how it's,
Oh, okay. I was going
I
to
don't know
ask
how
if it
it's
had
used.
some kind of reaction.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard this before, and I'm not sure if that was the use, but I have heard their blood being used for something else. I can't remember what it was. Very interesting.
Yeah, and they
I
had
wonder what's different about their blood.
the picture was of just rows of horseshoe crabs in these little harnesses and like a tube going into their butt or something, and it was extracting the blood, and their blood is blue, like our logo is blue. So it's pretty wild.
That must have been what it was, because I remember that picture. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And there was a controversy.
Crazy.
Oh, the poor horseshoe crabs, they're using their blood, but yeah, they're animals. We use animals for all sorts of things.
I thought there was something
for our convenience.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to go extinct or anything.
I thought there was something with that being like a food dye or something along those lines, but
it could be.
Maybe off base.
Worth looking into that.
All right. Do we have anything new to talk about, or is that the last of our new stories for the year?
That's it for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe now's a good time to crank up the what happened in 2023 year-end review extravaganza.
Oh, okay, good, because that's where Toons' story will enter the picture. Is that right?
Yeah, Toons has something.
Well, can I preface this real quick? A lot happened this year, but I feel like nobody talked about this. And when it did drop and when I did see the video, I was kind of blown away at the honesty of it. And it's really tough for me to listen to. But when it did drop, I expected everybody at work to be like, "Oh, did you see? You know, they really outed themselves." But kind of went under the radar. I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw it, but
I kind of remember it, but it just kind of came and went for me. What
was it, Toons?
Display.
Why don't we? Do you want me to go ahead and show the video?
Yeah, let's just do that. And then we can all be outraged at the same time.
Cue outrage.
It's small because it's a short.
Right, that guy,
but
because it's Mike Pence.
Because it's Mike Pence, but the audio should still come through okay here.
Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
No.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States.
Right.
And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
So we let it loop there.
Seen from you
What
before,
an
but that's
asshole.
Yeah, it kind of hits home. I don't know, and I have to work in the city, so you know I understand what it looks like and what it has looked like for the last, I don't know, my whole lifetime. You know, I work in the same city that I grew up adjacent to, and I mean, since lockdown, since government response to whatever you want to call it, things have slipped significantly, and it's only getting worse. And that comment, "It's not my concern," just really fucking hit me. And I was just amazed that nobody else picked up on that.
So I did want to chime in on that. I remember when this happened, it was sort of a big deal on Twitter. A lot of people were ratioing Mike Pence, and there was a lot of memes about it not being your concern and stuff like that. But I will say that overall, yes, people really didn't, at least in the real life, people didn't seem to really care about what he said. Although I will say one small thing is that not too long ago, he is no longer running for president because people
Yeah,
can't stand
October.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he more or less is the mouthpiece for, you know, whatever politician you want to support.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think he's any different than any mainstream Democrat, mainstream Republican.
Definitely not. No, I'm with you on that. I basically think if they're a mainstream politician, that they're all just working on the same team, 100%.
Mhm.
It seems like a very outrageous thing and very sloppy thing to say in front of someone, you know, in front of the whole of America, to
Yeah.
someone like Tucker Carlson. I mean, he's in on it. We all know that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just all part of the script, part of the play,
It's
the outrage play, the outrage scene. You know.
Yeah, the devil's advocate. He probably didn't mean what it sounded like he said, but who
completely
makes
agree.
that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
who makes that kind of a flub, you know?
Yeah.
And he didn't
Yeah,
even
that's
flinch.
very careless.
He didn't even say, "Oh no, just to be clear, of course I care about
No,
the
I
American
know.
people." He didn't say anything
Mm.
like that. He just
No, he just was
kept
like
rolling with it.
a dead-eyed, soulless psychopath. It
Yeah.
was very what I've come to expect, but that's part of it. The thing is that it should have been career ending immediately. It
Mhm.
should have. Back in the day, it would have likely gotten at least some attention. You know, it should have been career ending immediately, but it
Imagine if
wasn't.
Trump had said that.
Right. I don't understand why there's not ads 24/7 of, you know, any of his opponents saying, this is the former vice president saying, your issues are not my concern. Vote for me. I care about the crime, poverty, infrastructure, X, Y, and Z. I mean, I could get elected tomorrow if I make an ad like that, you know, like.
Yeah, no, it was just, yeah, I remember that too now, and it's completely ridiculous. I don't know what was going through his mind when he said that.
Mike Pence on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah, you think about modern politicians these days, it doesn't really matter what they say anymore because everything just gets wallpapered over and nobody gives a shit in a couple of weeks. And
elections aren't real anyway, so.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look at all the shit that Biden has spewed out of his mouth over the years. I'm talking decades ago, and he's still floating around. Yeah, I'd vote for Tunes too.
Hell yeah, I'd vote for
absolutely.
Tunes.
And he has
run, man.
what's the guy, the press secretary? Who's the guy that talks to the media?
I
You're
don't
talking
know.
about Corinne
Corinne-
Jean-Pierre?
Yeah.
KJP.
Yes.
That gal?
And he's
that
going to
guy.
be my Corinne Jean-Pierre.
He's going to be your press secretary. Ando would be a very good press secretary.
Yes. I just wanted to bring that video up because it blew me away, and it has stuck with me, and I haven't had a single conversation in the wild with anybody about that conversation. And I'm like, they're so mask off. I mean, how does anybody even relate to any of these people? Like, this is just so blatant. You know, it's offensive, and that's why I brought it to
That's
the
what
table.
it's meant to do, though. It's meant to outrage. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that it kind of goes with the behavior of Biden. Like, it has gotten, the behavior of public figures has gotten so incredibly, egregiously bad post-COVID that I think that it is just more of the same, right? More of that demoralization of, we're going to do whatever we want to do and there's
They're
nothing
just-
you can do about it.
It just feels like it's this real thing of they're just biding time, and I don't really mean that as a pun, even though it is. But they just sort of biding their time, like they're just stringing out. It's just poke public, see how far we can push them.
I completely agree,
distract.
but let's stretch it out and loot as much of the treasury as we can, and build as big of walls as we can, and
Yeah.
keep the ugly peasants outside.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah, well, there's also other theories about. There's much more philosophical and spiritual things that could come into play, but anyway.
Go for it.
What we
Let's hear
see,
it.
no, not now. I'm exhausted. It's the end of the year. Yeah. Anyway,
I think
they
that's
just do whatever they want.
that's probably the theme for 2023 is that we're all just completely burnt out. Our brains are fried, and we're exhausted with the whole fucking thing, right?
Yeah, and sick of the bloody, the blatancy of it all. It's just like, I mean, this is part of the point. So we have to endure, because if we get, that blasé, that's pretty much what they want. So we have to, find
Complacency.
that balance of awareness versus blasé-isms.
Yeah, and I did want to chime in here. Justin said Ashley lives. Yes, I do. They tried to kill us. They tried to kill Justin too with the flu, and we're still here. Oh, hey, Mr. Nick Hayes, how are you doing? Hayes Reviews
Hello there.
joined us as well.
Welcome.
So
Welcome,
yes,
everyone.
we do live. I think that they sprayed the East Coast. I swear that they sprayed the East Coast. This flu, it's been so many East Coast people up and down. Like one of our autonomy classmates is up in Labrador, Canada, and he's sick right now. It's all the way, it's everywhere, East Coast. So they try to take us out, but we still be here, okay?
I've heard. I haven't partaked. I haven't enjoyed the festivities. So
I'm so glad. I hope that you don't start doing immunity stuff while you can, like, get ahead of it. But what I wanted to say, and I can't believe, like, I'm so happy we've got some autonomy people in here, Drizzle, Nick. So what I was going to say is whenever we do recognize that that is what they are trying to do to us is demoralize, that we can recognize, as Richard Grove says, that it is an uneven playing field. It's a rigged game. However, we can reframe where we're coming at life from. We don't have to be black-pilled. We don't have to think that they have the game in hand, because the big thing is that the thing that they're missing, in my opinion, is that they don't understand the human condition. That's the problem. They are so arrogant and they're so hubris, or they have so much hubris, and they have spent so much time robbing us, and they have all, a huge percent of the wealth and all this influence and power. But the thing that they're missing is actually having a soul. And they don't understand having love for your children, being a true steward of the land, of animals. Like, they don't understand those things. So even though they're trying to make us think that they have the game won, they don't. They absolutely do not. So I just want to use this as a New Year's encouragement that we don't have to be black-pilled. We don't have to think that they have the game won, because they absolutely don't. And if we understand, there's a lot that we can do, and we have friends and networks and people that we're on the same page as, and those are really good things.
Well said.
Yeah, here. That's very good points. And I have been spending a little bit of time on archive.org lately and finding some absolute jewels of things, like really, really old books about, well, the things I'm looking at are things like herbs, botanism, that kind of thing, herbal remedies that have been wiped out, etc. So
We've
anything
got a new.
I'm looking at are things like
Yeah, sorry
anything-
to interrupt, but we've got a new unknown showing up here. America's sweetheart, the Justin the Ism Can't. Welcome.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
flu can't get him.
Hello.
Please continue, Stella.
I was just going to say that if you can get hold of any books in physically, preferably pre-1920 or even 1900s, the physical copies of things, but also for about the price of buying a book, you can, buy physical
media.
Yep. And for about the price of buying a book, you can take a file, a PDF file down to wherever your local, office works. They are here in Australia, printer, whatever, and print out a bunch of them. So, if there's anything that, I've just been looking at, for instance, Culpeper's herbal book, and there's various publications of them, someone like 1880, whatever, 1890, 1920, and they're all a little bit different. Some things have been taken out along the way. Why, I don't really know. I haven't gone that far. So, just stuff like that. Search some of the older knowledge while we still can, basically.
Talking to my wife about actually printing out physical copies of all our food recipes and having a binder for the kids.
Everything. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You just got to be careful. Don't do what my mom did and write them in cursive, because now how am I supposed to ever read that shit?
My handwriting is trash too. So,
Justin, you were of the generation that should still know cursive, though.
Seriously,
you're not that young, Justin.
I'm also of the generation that said "fuck school."
Well, I think that's every generation.
Yeah. I mean, it was designed that way, right? It was designed to be miserable and awful and to stomp creativity and individuality out of people. So that's fair that Justin did not take to school. That makes sense to me. But
I stopped doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
You should still know your cursive. Good for you.
In 6th grade. I can kind of read it. Definitely can't write it.
I can sign it.
I just do a for my signature. I just do a big J and then basically a scribble afterwards.
Yeah, well, I think I've spoken about this before, but I do see in the future that I might come into usefulness again at some point, because I can do, with the cursive writing, like maybe teaching some of the younger generation the cursive writing or translating, because it's going to even just the art of normal handwriting is getting pretty poor. I've seen some of the, the younger kids or the teenagers, and some of their writing is just like, yeah, well, when you're making notes, you write like you think. It's completely different. But yeah, it's just, and something else I've noticed is their handwriting is really tiny. It's really small. And I don't know, I haven't seen a whole lot of different people's handwriting, but the ones I've noticed, like, is that because the new generation they're just like not confident or something? What is it? What's this little tiny handwriting thing?
I don't know.
It's like you almost need
I've seen historic tiny handwriting. I don't know if that's a trend or what. I don't know what that says about your character. Could be. I made a decision a few years back that I was going to just start writing in cursive, because I would kind of go off and on writing cursive or print or whatever you call it. Over the years, I'd go in spurts, but I just, I was like, I'm going to go full cursive from now on, and I'm glad I did, because I enjoy writing in cursive.
It is more efficient, and it is prettier. It's more aesthetically.
Okay,
pleasing.
But yeah. let's have a contest here. We'll get Keel over here writing like 10 sentences in cursive, and I'll sit here in front of my computer and type up those exact same 10 sentences in a cursive font.
Speed is not always better.
Yeah.
No, and I got word check on mine.
and if you use the cursive font, Justin, could you even read it?
You just select all, right click, change font to like Times New Roman, Comic
Google
Sans.
Translate.
Yeah.
Sans serif.
Yeah.
Sans serif font.
Curry or new if you're nasty. Do you remember how if you had to do a paper, then and it would depend on how astute your professor was at checking fonts and stuff like that, but this is what you would do. You would make sure that you double space, or maybe like double and a half, like a little bit, and then you would also use a Courier New font and then maybe bump it up just a little bit. And Courier New took up so much more space than Times New Roman.
12.5. 12.5.
Exactly.
Turning on 11.
That's too big,
Yeah.
man. 12 point.
Listen,
Wow.
sometimes you're in a Prussian education model and you just need to get through it. Okay.
I gotcha. I understand.
That's
Am
too
I-
big.
The world needs ditch diggers.
First time anyone's ever Kyle's. Never mind. I'm still not 100%. I was trying to make a small penis joke. But I digress. Because he
I
said it
see.
was too big. Yeah, never mind.
I think cursive is big penis. I don't know.
Yeah, it's BDE.
Big dick energy.
Yeah.
Put it in- put it in
I
bold.
think full-time cursive is big energy.
I won't prove or disprove that theory here in this forum, but I appreciate the sentiment, regardless. So, what else happened in 2023 that we care about?
Yeah. What did happen? Well, there's a whole bunch of things that happened. Where do you want to start?
Why don't you just well, I was gonna tell Stella to maybe just throw some things out there and we can kind of discuss them. Justin, did you say you had a story?
No, I was just gonna say I had COVID twice, so fuck 2023.
Did you test for it?
I can chuck out a couple of things that we probably haven't heard about.
No, I didn't. Test for it.
That would be good. And I also want to tell everyone listening that if you don't know, Justin was trying really hard to get COVID whenever there was actual like time off work benefit, like paid 2 weeks or whatever it was. He tried so hard to get COVID and he never did the entire time. He stayed as healthy as a horse. And then this year he's gotten sick twice. It didn't benefit him at all.
Nope.
So now I'm just gay with AIDS for nothing.
I mean, he was out. I remember him talking about him being out and licking public toilet seats during the
doorknobs
heyday of COVID.
Hey, at least I wasn't cleaning black people's feet with my mouth.
Oh God.
Was that 2023 as well?
Moving on.
Thanks for joining us.
Collecting Unfiltered News Tube Service said that Joe Biden declared the health emergency is over, yet I saw a 400-pound woman driving with a mask on today by herself. So I guess it's not over after all, is it?
No, I'm
not according to her. No,
I'm seeing masks here and there, but they're like dumb. I mean, they're always dumb, but they're in dumb situations now. Just a person by themselves, like that situation. But I saw somebody, it was a woman driving a car with a guy.
Who let that happen?
That's a danger unto itself. But there was a guy in the passenger seat without a mask on, and they were just chatting away as they're driving along. And I'm like,
That's my favorite. Like when you're at the grocery store and you see a couple holding hands, and like the woman has a mask on and the guy doesn't. It's like that's not how any of that we were even told any of this.
Yeah.
You can't see the gaffer tape under her mask though. You see.
Right.
Yeah. Her mouth is sewed shut.
The mask is the MAGA hat for the other guys.
Yeah,
maybe so.
Pretty much. All right, let's talk about the absolute ultimate fear weaponry that they've cast on us since 1947, and that's the doomsday clock.
Oh,
that's a good one to discuss at the New Year's time frame.
What's it currently at?
Well, January the 24th, 2023, that's this year, time flies, was set at 90 seconds to midnight after new escalations in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So the doomsday clock represents how close the world is to a major catastrophe or all-out nuclear war. This adjustment brought the clock the closest it's ever been to the midnight since its creation in 1947.
Yeah, it's put together by a bunch of asshat scientists who claim to be. They claim it's a legitimate measure of whatever, like a neutral, non-biased, whatever. But it's it's funny how the clock gets, like the time gets greater when there's a Democrat in office, and it gets, it's really closer whenever there's a Republican in office.
What are they going to do when it's like, 1 second to midnight and then something happens? It's like, is that like when they press the button or something to make sure that it's all correct?
And the other thing that I think about that is that has it ever, because Stella was saying there, it's never been closer. Well, it's never been
Not
closer,
since last
right?
time.
Right. Like, does it ever move in the other direction? Ever? Has it ever?
Yeah, it does.
I think it does,
It does?
actually.
It goes
do
back
recall.
and forth. That's what I'm saying. When a Democrat is in office, it's not quite so close to midnight as when there's a Republican in office.
Well, did they, because I know that they did actually do that for Donald Trump. So, and yet we didn't have World War III. I mean, don't get me started on Orange Man Bad, all that stuff. But here we are. But so did they move it back when Joe Biden was in office? Do we know?
Well, every time he
believe
goes
so.
to a climate meeting, they push it back another couple weeks. Because that's the only thing that's going to save us.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think they had to wind it up again. So there we go. That's just another fear tool that they like to fall back on every now and then. I'd like to know if the people who invented it were of German origin. It was 1947. That's interesting. So the next month we had this Ozzy Osbourne announced his retirement from touring. Damn.
Good on him for touring that long.
Yeah.
He's 74, man.
You could have told me he stopped touring in like 2004. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
No, I saw him live in concert about maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, me too.
Are you sure he was alive?
No.
Has he lost his mind?
Oh, he lost his mind a long time ago.
So this is my thoughts on Ozzy, because I feel like he was already maybe starting to suffer from Parkinson's or something like that. But I think that he was vaccine injured as well.
Well, I mean, he probably got like the original COVID eating bat brains.
Oh yeah,
decades ago.
It took decades for it to mutate into something that could be transferred to other humans, and he's the source.
Yeah,
it was Ozzy Osbourne.
And then he spread it to that dumb bitch Sharon.
Sharon.
And then it all went from there. I'm not saying it's all the Brits' fault. I'm just saying that she is in fact British.
Yes.
Yeah, don't start me on Sharon. Because we don't want to go there.
I do want to go there. I want to start on Sharon.
Maybe another time.
Okay.
I haven't paid attention.
We're gonna wind you up. We're gonna wind you up on one of these.
Yeah. Since that reality show they had back in 2000.
I loved her on the reality show, and I wanted to dye my hair pink like Kelly. I loved the Osbournes when it was on.
I thought the most interesting thing about that show was that their other daughter, the actually talented one, wanted
Kelly.
nothing to do with the show. One was never on it
because she wanted to earn fame on her own score and not because of her famous parents. But it didn't actually work out for her.
It didn't work, but it was pretty funny regardless, because they would refer to her in the show, but they would bleep her name out and blur over their mouths as they were saying it.
She didn't want to be part of the show.
Right.
I had no idea I had no idea he had two daughters. I thought he had the crazy daughter and the crazy dude chick guy.
Jack.
Is he confirmed gay?
No.
Oh.
He got married. He got married and had children.
That he's
got some degenerative disease as well.
Yeah. Oh. And I think he may have MS or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway,
okay.
There's the end of Ozzy. Yeah, I mean, he was sounding pretty bad when I heard him. I was listening to some of the videos, but it's like, whoa.
He's been sounding rough for 20, 30, 40 years.
Right.
He makes
I hadn't heard him live, so yeah.
He makes RFK sound like friggin'
Tony Iommi still plays a great guitar, though, gotta say.
Oh yeah.
Even with the tops of his fingers missing.
Hey, so Hayes Review says that the Jack Osbourne was the first person I saw on TV to have a cold shower way before Wim Hof came on the scene. Cold showers for the win. Hey, that's a fun fact.
Yeah.
I didn't know
fun.
that.
Why would somebody want to take a cold shower unless they wanted to?
On television.
It's supposed to be health benefits. That's a good question.
You get
Okay.
so supposedly when you're like hot or cold, like in extremes, you get either cold shock proteins or heat shock proteins, and they're supposed to be real good
Yeah.
for you if you listen to Joe Rogan.
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
latest thing, isn't it? Everyone's doing their ice bath thing.
Well,
It's definitely a Scandinavian thing too. I know the
Yeah, I get-
Scandies fucking.
I
do the
get that.
sauna.
Yeah, I get all that kind of stuff, but just normally taking a cold shower in the morning, like, is that what they do? Is that the thing, or is this a once in a while, like, self-help treatment kind of sauna thing?
Well, technically, with sauna use and the people that get the most benefit out of it, like the Scandinavians and maybe even the Ruskies, they use a sauna a lot, like several times a week. And the benefits are supposed to be cumulative based on that. So if you use several times a week, then you have higher health outcomes.
yeah, I think there's something like a 40% all death mortality reduction, like steaming like twice a week.
Well, not for nothing too. It's a willpower thing too. Like I couldn't push myself into fucking doing a cold shower every morning. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can will yourself into doing a cold shower for 10 minutes, you can will yourself into doing a lot of rugged stuff. You know,
Sure.
I have a hard time willing myself into a nice warm shower.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a struggle to get out of bed. It's the getting out of bed thing for me. If I can get out of bed, I'm fine. But it's like,
It could come
I
a
got it.
time when we don't have any choice but to have cold showers, so we may as well enjoy the warm ones for a while.
I got a wood
That's
burner
true.
and I got an axe.
Yeah.
We'll eat some wood. We'll eat some water.
Man with an axe.
all right. So Hayes Review says Wim Hof, the Iceman, he's a world record holder. He developed a way to intentionally control the autonomic nervous system using cold water exposure and breathing technique.
Yeah, I believe he got sued recently. If that's true, I'm not sure.
Is that the
don't know why
guy?
this-
Is that the guy from? I want to say Russia, but I don't know if he's actually Russian. But he like sits in icy cold water and can
Yeah.
control, like, his body doesn't go into hypothermia because he can, control his.
He's some sort of Scandinavian. Definitely not Russian, but I don't know in particular. But yeah, he's an older dude too. Like he's definitely gray, but he's in great shape. Yeah, he's in great shape. So maybe there's something to it.
Oh, I think there's definitely something to it. Yeah. I mean,
Isn't he
there's
also like a yogi or
Or such.
something?
I would say it's adjacent.
What was that, Justin?
It's like a yoga master or something.
Oh, yeah. Mind over matter kind
the
of
breathing thing.
Adjacent to that stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of places around the world. Tasmania is one of them. Where I think it's this middle of winter, is it the solstice, where they all jump in the freezing cold water.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that do that daily, but yeah.
The Polar Bear Club.
Oh, okay. That's
Polar
what they're
bear
called.
plunge.
Right.
They do that
Well,
at
there's a club. They
do
it
that New Year's.
not, not just on one day. They do it.
Yeah.
It's like an event they go to. Conventions they have every
Yeah,
whenever.
South Boston, on New Year's, there's going to be old guys jumping in the water. Yeah.
Something to see, I suppose.
Yeah.
So the town that I went to school in, it's a mountain town, so they would have that every year. Actually, one year, here's a fun fact: they had MTV's The Road Rules showed up on campus. That was overlapping the same day that they did the big polar plunge on campus, and that was part of the Road Rules challenge. Was the on-campus polar plunge in the mountains in the wintertime. So I didn't do it. I was too much of a chicken.
You could have gotten on TV and been a big star by now.
I don't think so, but and it wasn't my thing to jump in freezing cold water at the time. Maybe
There's
I would try it
better
now.
ways to make the news.
Yeah.
Here's another one that we probably haven't heard of. I didn't know about this. In March this year, Italy banned the use of OpenAI's ChatGPT over data security concerns.
Hmm. That's an
Did
interesting
anyone
one.
know that?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know that.
No. There you go.
Did you
They
say
kept that one quiet, didn't they?
Italy?
Yes, Italy.
Mhm.
Well, that didn't they just get that conservative chick elected the last year or so?
Mm. Yeah,
been doing
I
a-
can't
Doing
remember her
great.
name.
Yeah, I
Doing
think so.
Yeah.
a great job conserving.
Well,
Is she really? Are you
conservative by
being
European
sarcastic?
standards.
Yes.
Okay, I thought so
Have you
because
have
she
you
seemed
seen
like
the
a globalist.
dingies?
I
They all
figured
are.
she was just another globalist. Yeah.
I,
They all
Yeah,
are.
they are.
every once in a while, I see dinghies of very not Italian people arriving on the Italian shores.
Oh, the dinghies, the boats. Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
I did hear about an Italian island that has been completely overrun, like by the thousands,
I forget the name of it. Yep.
but it's
Uh,
not one that I've done a deep dive on or researching into to verify, but nothing would surprise me about that.
I forget the
Hmm.
name of it, but yeah, it had a population of like 1,000, and they've gotten 1,500 or 10,000, whatever. I forget the numbers, but yeah,
Are they
I've seen that.
so they're migrants
Yeah, refugees,
from
Everywhere.
military age men from
where? I mean, where
who
are they
knows
coming
where.
from primarily?
Probably the
Africa.
prisons in
Africa, Somalia,
probably from the prisons in Somalia.
Nubia.
Okay. That makes sense.
I don't know.
Africa's not in very good shape at the moment. I'm sure a lot of them would be very keen to leave.
Europe
Sure.
needs to secure their southern border. They should
Well,
take some
especially if they're
notes.
They need to
being,
build a wall.
basically funded, bankrolled by the UN, which is what I think is happening, and given money and resources, cell phone, all
Okay,
that stuff.
now that's just anti-Semitic conspiracy talk, and
Mm.
I'm gonna have a talk with Mr. Greenblatt about this.
Okay.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. That's right.
You are a human resources expert, so we'll just leave it in your good hands.
I forgot he was HR. He's actually been
He's watching.
You
Yeah.
gotta keep in touch with your homosexual retard.
Yes, you do.
So you guys are talking about the Georgia Guidestones in the chat here, but I haven't heard anything new. I think it's still sitting in that storage warehouse up there, or secreted away to wherever underground base that they keep it in. But
So what was the
Antarctica?
date that happened? Did we decide that was 2022 that happened?
yeah, because we were talking about this on our very first episodes,
That was very beginning. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
which are available in their entirety on our YouTube channel for those of you who want to actually watch us back in the old days. Which leads me. Go ahead, Tunes.
I brought it up, and I was just, I don't know what brought it to my mind, but there was never a follow up to that, and it was such a weird story when it happened, but it went down, and then a week later everybody forgot about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was curious if anybody had a follow up to it.
The last thing I heard was that the Granite Corporation that's up there. Gosh, can't remember the name of the city anymore. County. But it's the local granite company that built it and maintained it, now has it in storage, and that was it. And I haven't seen anything about from the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, who was looking into it. I haven't heard anything from them as far as finding suspects or anything. It's just
real hard to find suspects when you aren't looking.
Yeah, I'm sure they just don't give a shit.
Well, why would they? They did it.
It was a ritual. It was a ritual.
Yeah.
Could be.
But here's the thing. Okay, so if we were I'm not disagreeing with that. That makes a lot of sense to me. However, what was the point, like, in a why take down your own thing in a ritual?
Right.
Was it like almost like breaking a bottle on a ship? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would believe so. Yes,
okay,
that's
so
my
that's
theory.
kind of where you're thinking. Gotcha. Good theory.
Yes.
There was or is a very strong anti Guidestones sentiment from fundamentalist Christians in Georgia. So it's very possible that a lot of them had spoken out prior to that saying that those need to be destroyed. Those Guidestones need to be destroyed because they felt it was a satanic symbol. And so it could have been a group like that just went up there and strapped a bomb to it and then ran off.
Well, they've been there since the 70s. Took them a while, didn't it?
Yeah, but there was it got louder for whatever reason. There was a
1980. Sorry.
Georgia congresswoman in South Georgia had spoken publicly about it in the weeks prior to it getting destroyed, saying that
Oh yeah.
she was calling out, we need to destroy this. If I get elected, then I'll make sure we take these down and that sort of thing.
See, that just makes me think that she was paid by them to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
if they
Probably.
could have pinned it on a fundamentalist Christian and made an example of them, they would have. I mean, they obviously can. They could do anything. Look at what they've done for January 6th. We know that. But I just mean that if they could have used it to their benefit, I think they would have. Because that's who the Christian is, who they have on their radar the most.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And
can
they
I
may
throw out a
still-
theory real quick. Oh, go ahead, Sales.
I was just going to say they may still pull something out of their sleeve when it suits them. It's like, oh, look, we found who did the Guidestones. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
They'll
sorry, Tim.
probably wait for the right moment. They probably
Yeah,
have
wait till
somebody
they have
already.
to. They need a distraction from something else. Yeah,
Yeah.
or they need
for
to give some signal.
What kind of distraction do you guys think is going to need to be out there for them to release what actually happened to JFK? Like, that's got to be like some major shit. We're like, oh god, quick, throw them the JFK set. They'll leave us alone.
They tried the aliens. They tried the aliens a million times this year.
That was my
Aliens
favorite.
are popular.
The
Favorite part
aliens.
about the alien shit was all it took for everyone that believed in aliens to not believe in aliens anymore was the government being like, oh yeah, there's aliens. Like, oh, it's like, oh fuck.
I
All right,
mean,
well, there we
really,
go. There is it.
those paper mache ones in Mexico were just
Oh,
Oh,
just
man.
beyond. I want to
That
see some merch.
was-
I want a like a stuffed toy one of them.
Yes, I wouldn't mind a trucker hat with one of those like dead little if Ando's still listening, one of those crusty little guys. That's what we started calling him.
Yeah, crusty little guy. Yeah.
They looked so. I mean, they weren't. There was absolutely no way. They just looked so bad. It looked like a toddler had molded it out of Play-Doh or something. They were so dumb
Yeah,
looking.
I know. It was just like beyond stupid.
Okay, so we may need to
Another
talk
slap in the face, I think.
collecting unfiltered news tube service because he said that he videotaped UFOs in the Grand Canyon in '98, and I would
don't
love
doubt-
to hear that tale.
I don't doubt that because I think a lot of the technology is from the military. But whatever.
Oh,
We just,
and
how do we know?
yeah, for sure. It definitely could be military stuff. I would like to hear that story sometime. And Ando is still here, so shout out to those crusty little guys, Ando.
Can I hop back to the Guidestones real quick? I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please do.
Quick left turn. So one of the main points on the Guidestones was keep human population to 500 million. I'm curious if there was a how do I phrase this? A plan change to change that figure to spread the third world population throughout the globe and bring in 1 billion Americans. That is a book from some liberal writer. 1 billion Americans, how immigrate. The title is 1 billion Americans, and the idea is how immigration is going to save us all. And I think the idea is to bring in 1 billion Americans through our border, because a person is a person, blank slate.
That's too many.
Where am
people.
I going with this? Yeah, I agree.
I'll
But
start
one of the
supporting-
main points on the Guidestone was 500 million as the population, and obviously that's not sustainable if they're importing.
Yeah.
However many.
Right.
From
No,
wherever.
That's way too many people. I'll start supporting, population control efforts if they do something like that.
What's your number? I'm curious.
Whoa.
Oh, I don't know. It's if I can still buy a piece of land big enough that I could sit on my porch and not see anybody,
Yeah.
then it's probably still okay,
Because I think we're past that point at this point.
We're getting close.
Or getting there, right?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's just I'm
No,
curious.
I don't have a number. And there's so much open land still in the United States. I'm probably 1 billion people could live there comfortably here.
So
But-
here's
Same with Australia too. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Is sort of we forget. I mean, who knows if these statistics are correct? But what do they say that the whole of the population of the world would fit into Texas or something?
The
Yeah,
issue is
that's what I was
silly
going to
like
ask.
that.
the issue is all land is not created equal.
Right. No, I mean,
Right, like sustainable land.
Yeah.
So for me, taking that totally out of the equation, but I was going to ask if anybody did know, like what Stella was saying, because she said that everybody would fit in Texas. I had heard that everybody, if they were just standing, would fit on Manhattan, like every human in the whole world.
Yeah, probably.
you know,
but
the-
we,
yeah, but then it would
we
stink.
also we need a garden.
Yeah,
we
no,
gotta eat,
no. I'm just saying,
I gotta poop somewhere.
just space wise, if anyone knows if that's true or not.
That does not sound true to me.
Look,
I have
who
been-
knows?
I
We don't
have
even
been-
know if there's 8 billion people in the world. That's just another thing they're telling us.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been to Manhattan, and there's very little space there for just the people in Manhattan that are there.
Yeah. Yeah, New York is a
I
shithole
just-
country for sure.
I should have known that this was going to go down an autistic rabbit hole, but all I meant was just just space only, if that would work.
Yeah.
But
Hands
I
to your
don't know.
hips.
I get it.
Alrighty.
Single file. Single file.
I was not
Yeah,
aware
but-
that Willie Nelson turned 90 this year.
Oh. He's still touring, isn't he?
Yes, he held a 2-day music concert for his 90th birthday party. Oh, I guess he wasn't
That
probably on
guy.
stage for 2 days, but
No,
he
but
was
that
probably
guy,
enjoying it.
Just
But
him and Keith
90.
Richards are gonna outlive all of us.
Oh man, there must be some sort of genome thing going on there. I want their blood.
It's for Willie. It's probably the weeds. And shout out
Yeah.
to Manufacturing Reality, Drizzle, smoke more of the weeds.
Hmm.
Every human in the whole world could have an acre in Texas, and there would be land left over, allegedly. Yeah, well,
But a lot of Texas is
Pretty big
desert,
place, isn't it?
Isn't it? So
Yeah. Sure, it's habitable land and what do they call it? Potable? No, that's water.
Potable water.
But
well, water's the
Arable?
problem. Yeah, arable.
Arable
yeah.
land.
arable land. There we
the
go.
question is how much land does one person
Arable.
need to be
That's where you can
self-sufficient?
grow Arabs. Sorry.
It's not just one person to put up a tent. They need food. They need somewhere to poop.
Yeah.
You know,
I know,
like,
but,
all right, we can fit us all in Texas, but we kind of gotta raise.
I don't
chickens
think
and shit,
the-
They'll probably
Yeah.
just stick a tube up
kind of
our
a
bottom
silly-
and into our mouth, and then
Right,
that'll take
okay,
care of us.
All right, right. We'll have the pods in Texas, and we'll have an acre.
Well, and
There-
I'm going to need more than an acre because some of these people from some of these countries, they fucking stink, man.
They poop in the streets.
Like first we got to have a talk about property rights with these fuckers.
Hey, I've seen people pooping in the streets in Atlanta. So,
You have? When was
Yeah.
your first sighting of that?
I don't remember. But I mean, people use the bathroom just wherever because it's a Atlanta was always kind of shitty, but now it is definitely a shithole country.
Sure.
I mean, it is rife with homeless garbage.
When I'm
everywhere.
elected, they're shot on sight.
Oh God.
You know,
Okay.
I'm not sure I could, get behind
still
that
wanna be
effort, but
press
I'm not
secretary,
going to
Ando?
protest it. I'm not going to protest that effort.
Oh, Ando definitely wants to be that press
Yeah.
secretary.
You can hear the sound of the shotgun being cocked right now.
I would probably
What else?
maybe suggest like try and like kick them out and make them someone else's problem first. But I mean, a
They're already
solution's
trying
a
that.
solution.
Yeah.
So
A 12
this-
millimeter, a 12 gauge is a lot cheaper than a plane ride.
That is
So-
true.
this is my problem with that. While I can understand the sentiment behind that, my problem is that many people are victims of a system that did this to them intentionally to try
Okay, here comes Ashley the fucking liberal.
Sheesh.
It's not
There
their
we
fault.
go. There
Systemic
we go.
racism. Systemic
Union.
racism.
Union of the Unknowns has gone woke. Thanks a lot, Ashley.
I'll be
We're gonna
turning
get
up
all
with
sorts
blue
of
hair
phone calls
next.
now.
Well, we've had all the signs with the Subaru and the patchouli. Like it's been there the whole time.
Hey,
Yep.
nothing wrong with patchouli. Unless you're a
That's
cat.
where you draw the line, Stella.
Plenty wrong with
Really?
Julie.
Okay.
Alright.
So what I was going to say though is because of the CIA running drugs, the introduction of drugs in the neighborhood, Ando said Ashley Osborne. Oh, anyway. I don't know. I feel like, okay, for example, in Appalachia, right? There's a big opioid problem. But the problem is that those people, it was introduced to them. Like industry was killed there intentionally. And then the introduction of opioids was specifically put into Appalachia and made highly available, right?
Can I ask what the industry in Appalachia was that was destroyed?
Cool.
Being
Coal.
awesome.
Yes, there
Yeah.
was coal, there was steel, like in Pennsylvania.
And
a lot
when was it
of
destroyed?
moment.
Like recently, or
it's in the last several decades, yeah, like in the
Right.
80s and 90s and 2000s.
and what happened?
Um,
Like, did that
The-
stuff go offshore, like
Yes.
China? Because you did. I mean, there's been talk about whether some of the fentanyl, etc., is sort of revenge from the opioid thing.
Yeah. No, I have pondered that, but I don't think so because first of all, it was Britain, as Richard Grove says, but second of all, I believe that what happened was if the plan is to get people on drugs and to take out the people that are most likely to oppose you, which is fighting age men, which is what they have done with war, porn, and drugs, and they did that in the Black community with crack, but I believe that meth and opioids were done to do the same thing to white communities. It just didn't happen at the same time, but it was poverty, the people that were already close to and living in poverty and like blue collar families that were the target of that. So I just
the Sacklers are the family, and Pete Quinones had a episode on this about a year ago. But yeah, keep going,
Yeah.
Ashley.
Well,
You're on
yes.
it.
So my point is that I think that a lot of those people are victims in a lot of ways. So I'm hesitant to just say that they should just be eliminated because
That's not who I was talking
situation-
about.
Gotcha.
Those are my people. Those are my people.
Word. Yeah, mine too.
We're
For
not
sure,
talking
I
about
thought-
eliminating the poor. We're talking about eliminating the parasitic homeless
Tyrants.
waves of disgusting bums and panhandlers and
New Americans. Not us old Americans.
no.
I thought Ashley was gonna finish that thought with something like, and that's why we have the social contract.
She would.
No, it's very anti-government to understand how the government created the problem.
Okay, libtard.
Mhm. I think we got you. We finally figured you out.
Infiltrated by our own Ashley.
All right, guys. On that note, are we ready to call it a night, or do we want to keep going on this rambling anti?
Oh, well, we're only halfway through the year, but that's fine.
Still's got more.
We're up
Yeah,
to
let's
May.
get a couple more.
right,
No,
let's do it.
if everyone's had enough, it might be time to wrap up. Is that everyone? How's everyone feeling?
Let's
I'm
do
feeling
one or
great.
two more, Stell.
One
I
or
can
two?
hang out a few more.
All right.
Yeah, let's round out the bottom of the hour here.
It seems like a much further time ago, but apparently it was only this May that the FDA gave Elon Musk the go-ahead to trial his Neuralink brain implants on humans.
Oh yeah.
Those archaic little module things.
I can't wait for those to start going into people's heads.
I got my appointment for next week.
They
Actually,
already have.
Maybe we can combine the Elon thing with Toons' thing, and like Elon could just give all the homeless like $5,000, and if it works out, great. If not, problem solved.
Okay.
Well,
I thought you were going to go a different. I thought you were going to say.
I'm just trying to come up with ideas here, man.
It just seems like a long time ago, though. That so much has happened that just everything's you sort of lose track of time. Really, it's quite odd. A lot of people do talk about how time's speeding up, which is strange. I mean, that's not really logical, but we don't understand dimensions fully, or what CERN's doing. That's another show. So June, Ocean Gate, the Titan submersible imploded.
Ooh, that was a fun psyop.
Yeah, that was weird. That was very strange.
Oh, and actually,
came
speaking of the most fun psyops, when was the Chinese spy balloon? Was that on the list?
Yeah,
that was what
was on the
list
February.
I think that was pretty
Yeah, it was
early.
early.
Yeah, might have been February or March.
That
or
was
something.
probably my favorite of the year.
I remember seeing
Yeah.
it pretty early on the bingo cards.
Was that springish? I thought it was pretty
more
warm
spring.
out.
Yeah, that was
weird.
so dumb.
They sent out to what was it? 4 F-100 fighters or something at $500 million a piece.
F-15.
Oh yeah, we dropped like $20
Whatever that.
million worth of bombs on it.
Did you guys? I
balloon.
heard the audio, but I didn't see the video of it. I think there's a video out there of these rednecks sitting on Myrtle Beach, cheering the Air Force on after they watching them shoot the missiles at the balloon after it's already completely gone across the continental United States and is out in the ocean. Like, come on, guys. And then we find out. I mean, not like any of us thought it was any different, but we find out that of course, our intelligence agencies knew when that balloon was launched. Like they were watching it the whole time and could have taken it down at any point, and whatever nonsense the narrative was. But it's one of those things that should outrage people who aren't paying attention to this stuff like we are. It should outrage them that the government allowed this to just float across our country, and has been, because there were other balloons that were doing other Chinese spy balloons that were for years. This is like a thing that's been going on. I
don't even know if I believe it was a Chinese spy balloon. I don't.
maybe it wasn't, but I'm saying
some kid's birthday party.
I'm saying the
Exactly.
Really big Chinese baby running after it.
Yeah.
Why don't these stories make people snap out of their trance and say the government is no good and the news is lying to us? Why don't
this one?
Great question.
I got this one because people are retarded.
There we go. Bing, bing, bing.
There we go. That's it. That's
that Osho clip. Democracy is for the people, by the people, or whatever. But the problem is the people are retarded.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, though, is like when you're in a cult, then you can't hear anything against the cult. and nothing that you hear against the cult or nothing that you see in front of your eyes will make you question the cult, because it's all about what's between your ears.
Mm-hmm.
That's the battlefield.
Bunch
And
of
that
horse
has
shit.
been,
So what's
you
between
know,
your ears?
That is
I
the
was-
final frontier.
I was
Yeah.
told that love is the battlefield.
it is a battlefield, not the battlefield.
My mistake.
That song was written by an Australian,
Very
and
nice.
she happened to hear this guy sing it and went up and said, "Hey, I want to record that." And he went,
There's
"Beauty, I'll take
probably-
those royalties."
Probably a reason why Stella knows that story.
I was thinking
Ooh,
that
okay.
too.
Well,
but
was
I
Anyway,
that you?
didn't want to
in
dox
August, there's quite a bit
Okay,
of
It's
moon
all
action.
coming out.
There's a bit of moon action going on. Did anyone
Moon?
know that India became the fourth nation to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon?
Yep,
And it still looks like a Doctor Who prop.
I heard that. Yep.
Yes,
I
so
heard
the
that
fourth
story.
nation to lie and say that they put something on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was August
because-
23rd. And August 19th, Russia's Lunar 25 lunar lander mission crash landed on the moon.
As
Mhm.
we
So that
all
was
know,
4 days before.
the moon is fake and gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a big wheel of cheese up there. It
Yep.
always
Did-
has been.
I think I saw something recently about they're saying that they're going to do another manned mission to the moon. Did anyone
Yes.
else see something like that?
I was just about to say, in April, it was announced, or the astronauts for that mission were announced.
Any school
there's a-
teachers?
I'm just trying to find it again. Here we are. Commander Wiseman, mission specialist.
Okay.
Jeremy
Bet he's a wise
Hansen.
man.
So he's a mission specialist. Flight engineer Christina Koch. Pilot Victor Glover. Were chosen for Artemis 2. Artemis, a flyby mission to the moon. So it's a flyby,
They're not going to land.
not checking in.
But they've been talking.
They don't have
about-
to get any proof.
They've been talking about doing that for years and years and years and years. Every once in a while, the president will say, "I'm going to send a mission to Mars in 20
Yeah.
years." You know.
We'll just chuck another 50 billion to NASA and see what they do.
It's just
No
a big
worries.
It's written in the Bible.
laundering scheme.
The firmament, it's firm and it's permanent. Can't get through it. Sorry.
Mm.
There
Interesting
you go.
breakdown.
Yeah.
Donald Trump had his mugshot taken. Wasn't that an awful photo?
Oh, I thought it was based. I wanted to get
That
a
was
t-shirt
awesome.
to trigger the shit libs.
No, that was the best picture ever taken. That was
It was very character,
phenomenal.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very
He made a lot of money off of that picture, too.
Oh man, the merch. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was
exactly.
Imagine.
immediately he had stuff coming out, and then you heard about the suit he was selling, pieces
Pre-printed.
of the suit he wore for that. Did you hear? You guys didn't hear about that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Trump he has been for a while now doing the NFT trading cards, playing like collectibles NFTs of him, and he had some deal recently where if you buy a certain number of them, like 40 NFTs, he will send you a certified piece of the suit he wore during the mugshot. So
He is the king of marketing. Like
Yeah.
you can't.
Mm.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, he's a
can't
perfect
dispute that.
to put
He
in
is-
presidency.
He is Hollywood. Like he is.
oh sure,
He is
yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is one of our funniest presidents. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Very
Definitely.
entertaining.
Definitely
mean,
entertaining.
Biden's entertaining as well, but it's funny, but in like when you watch someone fall down a flight of stairs and then you feel
Yeah.
bad for laughing. Like it's funny in that way.
I don't
Trump
feel
is
bad
just
when I laugh
haha
at Biden.
funny.
I
Yeah,
don't
Trump's trying
either.
to be funny.
Trump sucks, but he's still entertaining.
Yes.
So
Oh,
it's-
he's super entertaining. He was nobody could trigger the libs like this man with just a couple of words, and just his what's the word I'm looking for here? His like
Chad. Base.
Chad? Base, yes. His flippancy, the way he would just say,
Just alpha.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And they would lose it. And
Mhm.
it made it so much
I mean-
better. Like all the crying blue hair people, the sidewalks, the
I've
Can I
crying,
just
been
do
and then-
All those awesome memes.
yes.
Your people, Ashley.
Yeah, the Subaru
Can we
crowd.
just do a disclaimer for the ATF? We support Joe Biden and everything he does. Please don't shoot my dog.
Yes, don't shoot our dogs, please.
Beautiful and brave, LGBT all day. Go ATF. Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't have any dogs, so
They'll find something to shoot,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
they'll,
Yeah.
they'll shoot my
You should
cat.
get a
She's
dog, man. It might save
entirely
your life.
black.
Yeah, maybe.
But- So, anyways, it's I've been a huge Trump fan ever since Grab Him by the Pussy. Like, once that came out, I was like, this man is a comedic genius. Like, he's up there with like Dave Attell and the greats, man, the Anthony Cumias of the world. This real high intelligent comedy.
Yeah, when he does his rallies, they sound like a stand-up comedy routine. Like he's up there and he's working the crowd and everything.
Well,
It's pretty interesting.
I know a lot of people have different feelings about Dave Smith from Part of the Problem, but the first comedy special he put out, Libertas, it is one of the funniest political things you'll ever watch because he just really nails it. And is one of his jokes like, one thing that Trump does that you've never seen anyone like, he'll just be in a speech like, what else? China. Yeah, I wanted to talk about China.
Yeah.
And he just does 20 minutes on China.
Yeah, that is true. The disparity between not being able to put out a press conference and not being able to walk up a flight of stairs. Meanwhile, this man's golfing. He's eating hundreds of Big Macs. He's spitballing, just talking, answering questions on the fly, like a true entertainer. It was a huge difference, and it has been a lot less fun. Now, post 2020 Trump has not been very fun, but pre 2020 Trump was really fun.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit slower, getting older. So
I'm not gonna lie. I had a fun COVID Trump too. I had a good time during COVID, if I'm being perfectly honest.
He's the reason why everything stupid happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and warp his own speed somewhere else.
Yeah, because he's still a globalist puppet. That's the bottom line, is that he's still working for them. But he's a lot more fun than Biden, I'll say that.
Right.
He wears many hats, and one of them is very little. Anyway,
is the economy really so bad that we can't figure out how to do non-slip stairs for this fucking geriatric guy?
I reckon they probably put detergent on it.
I thought they gave him special shoes with the weird horseshoe things.
You brought that story.
They'll throw on his shoes or
I
something.
didn't bring that story.
Did they hoof his heels?
They did something.
Yes.
That was weird.
Wasn't that
They
Keel
hor-
that
they
brought the
horseshoe-
story? Because he
No.
was the one that told us that it was Michael Jackson that did it first.
Mm.
That wasn't me.
Oh, no, that was Mike the
There you
Polymath.
go.
Gotcha. So we
Right,
talked about
yeah,
that
that's right.
on a WTF forum, and he did think that, yes, that Biden got special shoes. Yes. So he wouldn't fall over like a dummy.
Yeah, like special grippy rubber things, attachments to them or something like that.
Yeah.
No, the way
Yeah.
the way Michael Jackson's worked was the heels had a little sort of nooky bit that you could hook into a nail that's on the stage or what have you, so he could
Mhm.
lean right back and
Right.
It was pretty cool to
So
see. I
similar.
didn't know that.
Although I think you'd have to really have your moves together, as in to be able to unhook
Oh.
without a problem,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not
but
fall
he-
over. So I don't think Biden would be capable of that. They're too
No.
high tech, those shoes, for him.
No. I think if any it was either just that brand of shoe, because I saw a comparison to other brands that kind of had a similar look on the bottom, or they just had a special orthopedic function, because he's 100 years old and requires such things.
Special shoes.
Yeah.
The old man. It's running the
Mhm.
country.
All right, Stells. Well, what else you got?
All right. Well, maybe we'll just we're pretty much getting towards the end here.
Drop the big bomb.
October, US President Joe Biden signed an executive order to guide the use of AI within federal agencies. So that sort of gives a bit of a green light to a few things. Collins Dictionary announced AI as the most notable word in 2023. AI is a word?
Yeah, that was gonna be my complaint.
That's an acronym,
Yeah.
not a word.
Not
Well,
if you change
apparently
the
it's a word.
definition of an acronym, which was probably also done in 2023.
Did
We'll
they
have to go to
change?
the Collins Dictionary and look up acronym.
I just looked it up. It says safe and effective.
Ah,
Perfect.
makes
Beautiful
sense.
and brave. Beautiful
SAE.
and brave.
All right.
Mhm.
We're getting up to what else?
It's-
Disgraced form of crime. No, that's boring. And then, of course, we're into the Gaza thing. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, who cares about that?
Oh, we got
Sorry.
tunes here though.
Too big. Too big. Too big. Taylor Swift was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Of course she was.
Person, not woman.
Person. No, Person of the Year.
Don't be.
Anybody
a
heard
bigot.
that? Anybody
very
heard that
political.
conspiracy theory?
I know the conspiracy theory, I think, is what she's like Anton LaVey's granddaughter or something like that. That's the one that I know about her. And that
Daughter, I
she dances
think, isn't it?
on the black cube of Saturn. Yeah,
Oh,
daughter.
yeah, might
Or
have been. Oh, yeah,
I
I
thought it was
can't-
granddaughter.
It might have
I
been
have no idea.
granddaughter, actually. I think you might be
Yeah,
right.
it's
Yeah.
her. His daughter is much
That's
older
right.
than Taylor Swift supposedly is. Who knows for sure?
Yeah, I think
That's
it's his
not-
daughter
her mother.
is her mother. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, bloody hell, she looks like. I mean, they're almost twins.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to.
Her daughter is her mother. What in the Alabama's going on?
No.
No. Sorry, Anton LaVey's daughter is Swift's mother, apparently.
Like I was
If you
doing,
look
I
at
was,
some pictures,
I was doing
pretty
some
hard
real
to-
weird math in my head.
Yeah. Oh yes, well we lost a few people, of course. Tina Turner, Matthew Perry, Lisa Marie Presley.
Mhm.
We lost a lot of people actually. Suzanne Summers.
So
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people. Like I was going to read a few out, but the list was so long.
did
It's like,
we ever get a follow up on Matthew Perry? Because I remember that, like, he did a video with the Cranberries or whatever.
Yeah, what was the Cranberries connection? We couldn't
And
figure
then-
that out.
I think just recently they said that he basically had a ketamine overdose in the hot tub.
Right.
yeah,
So-
what was that?
The Cranberries connection with Matthew Perry was that he had the picture of 3 cranberries, and it was debatable. People were debating whether he posted a picture of 3 cranberries or 3 grapes. The reason that is significant, though, is because Dolores O'Riordan apparently was also a bathtub drowning celebrity death,
Right.
which is when we talked about it, I didn't remember that part of it. So that's the connection with him. Now, here's something else that I just learned. Yes, the whole ketamine thing, and they're saying that Matthew Perry was never sober
Mhm.
basically.
Mm.
Why
And
would
that-
you be if you didn't have to be?
Naturally. And then they were saying that he what was the other weird thing? Oh, this new show, the new movie that the Obamas produced, that was the Netflix
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind, that says you shouldn't trust white people.
Yep.
Apparently one of the characters is obsessed with Friends. So I thought that
Yes.
was a little strange as well. And a lot of weird stuff with that Matt Perry death.
And then there was a, speaking of Obama, his chef.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was some weird ass shit too.
Yeah.
I was doing a little bit of. Sorry, is everyone finished on that? I'm about
Yeah,
to
please
change
go
subject.
ahead.
One quick thing I wanted to say about Taylor Swift is that so she was named
it
Person
swift.
of the Year. I'll make it swift. But we didn't hear what Toons's theory about her was. So I want to hear that. But the other thing that I was going to say is that she basically has been an advertisement for the NFL. Like a huge
yeah.
ad for
So
the
you're
NFL.
saying that she's been tailored to the NFL?
Swiftly.
I I am saying that. So basically, she and Travis Kelce were dating. Travis Kelce is a Pfizer spokesperson, and
Jab
he
guy.
has a he has a commercial of getting 2 different shots. So one for his flu shot, of course, and one for his COVID booster.
At least he's got 2
And
band-aids
then
on his arm, at least.
he has 2 band-aids, exactly. And then he and Taylor started dating, and it's this huge deal for the NFL. They talked about it every single game. Oh, Taylor Swift was at the Chiefs game or whatever. And of course, like, some people care, but why would you care about that? Anyway. So then, and she had also this huge giant world tour. It was just all one big promotion. And it seems so obvious that this is just a created relationship by their handlers and the NFL and whoever's
The
managing
marketing
her.
department.
And
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. You're absolutely right. I don't. You know, maybe they are dating, but who knows and who cares? But they aren't. It's just it is absolutely just they're trying to bring the younger kids into the NFL, and they're cross marketing and everything. Yeah, it's absolutely, that's what it is.
And she's just writing her next album anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so Tunes, what was your Tay Swift theory?
No, I don't have anything on it, and if I can steal the moment to I used to be big time into sports ball. I say that just because I used to be a big hockey fan, and I gave it all up just because of the messaging. And then once you like detox from it, it's crazy to like go back into that world. Over Christmas, my family is big into sports. You know, that's all they give a shit about. And a couple of cousins and an uncle, where I said, oh no, I haven't watched sports since 2020, and I wanted to make it political, but nobody wants to go down that. Everybody looks at me like a black sheep, like I'm a psycho. Like, oh, what do you do with Sundays? Like, I don't know, live life. Like I have plenty of other things to do, man. Like it's weird once you step outside of that frame. I haven't watched football in years now, but it used to be like my personality. It used to be what you did when you had spare time. I was a big NHL guy, and NHL has changed big time, and I stopped watching that. They had a black woman president say the NHL was too white, and after that I kind of backed off.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was the end of the line for me. But the same messaging for the NFL. But I just wanted to throw it out there that like once you stop watching sports ball, everybody that used to talk about sports ball with kind of looks at you weird. I got a lot of weird looks at Christmas, being like, nah, I don't watch sports anymore.
Yep.
When I was looking for things that had happened during the year, and Keel's sort of confirmed this too, there was a whole bunch of review things and videos, and they were just boring as hell, or very, very narrative, as you'd expect, put together by the ABCs or the BBCs of the world, etc. So yeah, it was pretty hard to find something that was a nice little wrap up of events that we would have talked about. Maybe there is some. I didn't sort of go to Rokfin to look for things like that or whatever. I was looking, where most people look, because this is not your mama's news, but it's sort of about the news.
Did you drop a story? Did you drop one for this month?
What do you mean?
Like
as in what's happening this month?
Yeah.
No, not really. What happened this month? Oh, that was the Taylor Swift thing. Yeah, it was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. So that was the most important thing they could put in that article. I know there's been some pretty important stuff, but whatever. But so, yeah, I went to the Council of Foreign Relations just to see what they had to say. And they've got their usual list of 10 things, because that's what they do. They've always got their lists of 10, just like Alice Bailey. Anyway, the 10 most significant world events are things that really, a lot of them really, I guess they were in the mainstream news, because I don't really watch the mainstream news, but there were some things that I didn't expect to see there. Let me just quickly read them out. 10-1. The global democratic recession continues. In other words, the killing of democracy, which it's debatable whether it exists anyway. Number 9, the space race heats up. So what we were talking about, there's more interest in the moon particularly. I think it's because they all want to mine it. But, we
Mine
know
that
they can't get
cheese.
there. Number 8, India passes China as the world's most populous country.
That's pretty significant.
That's pretty significant. It is. It is. No wonder Bill Gates wants to kill them. Number 7, I can't even pronounce it. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, just geography-wise, China's way bigger than India. I mean, population density, that's going to be a nightmare.
I've never heard about India putting the kind of reproductive restrictions that China used to do.
Right.
One-child policy.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I've never heard of India doing that. Is that a thing that India has done, do you think? Or has anybody heard about that?
I've never heard of
they
anything.
shit on the streets in India. So I'd say anything's possible there.
What is that river? Is it it's not the Ganges River?
The
That's in
Ganges,
China, right?
yeah.
Well, the river in India that flows through, what is that river?
Ganges, it's got to be.
No, it's not the
That's
Ganges.
their holy river.
But that's in China, right?
No, it's not. Ganges
It
is
goes
in
through
India.
India. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe it's the Ganges.
Primarily.
Anyway, their sacred river
holy.
they have there that flows through. It's a privilege to be, when you die, to be set adrift in that river, and so you see video of and people bathe in it because it's holy, and drink it, and the cows are in there too. It is the most disgusting thing.
It's holy.
Looking at it. I know it's holy, but I mean, holy crap!
Holy cow! There goes another body.
And bathing in this water that humans are decaying, and you understand the disease and just
and guess
gross.
what? They're fine. They're still fine. So maybe
Exactly. That says a
So I
lot
think-
about the power of the
Yeah.
mind over sickness and etc., doesn't it? And
yes,
belief.
and if who knows what causes you to actually be sick? Maybe it's fucking like soybean oil in your food and not decaying.
Are
bodies.
they really? I feel like we all just agreed that they're fine way too fast.
Yeah,
I don't know
agree.
if that's true.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
their
that's true either.
population is growing, right? I mean,
I came to
Yeah.
the conclusion that all cultures are not equal. But hey,
Well, I think it is
Hey.
definitely a testament to the power of the mind over.
I mean,
body.
the ability to reproduce, to still be keep on keeping on, right?
I mean, I can get it on when I'm feeling a little sick.
Shall I
You know what
continue?
I'm saying?
Yes, go ahead.
Please do.
Number 7. I can't even pronounce this one, so this is going to be fun. So I didn't hear anything about this. Azerbaijan seizes Nagorno-Karabakh.
Yeah.
So that's the collapse of the Soviet Union continued to be felt 3 decades later. Blah 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 blah. So
That's the Albanian.
Azerbaijan.
Armenians.
Azerbaijan. Armenia. Azerbaijan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Armenians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Isn't there a website somewhere that shows you all the different violent conflicts currently going on at any given time? And there's always
Yes.
like 30 or 40 that are just as bad as the Ukrainian thing or the Palestinian thing.
Yeah, it's
And-
like that's gotta be a massive server.
And but then nobody, I can't figure out. I haven't looked, honestly. I just haven't remembered
you want
during the
to.
times when I'm thinking about it. But
Yeah.
it's one of those phenomenon above, in human beings where we can be controlled by the media narrative that's controlled by the powers. It's like, only focus on this conflict or that conflict, and we're going to throw billions of dollars over in this direction because we feel bad for these people. When
So
what about all the tens of other examples of that happening right now?
So
Yes.
in their defense, everybody that is not in the know, I mean, including me, you only know what you know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't,
You only know what they tell you.
If you don't hear about,
Right. No, I get that, but
I forget. Yeah,
it's
go kill.
Yeah, no, that's just one of the things that frustrates me about people, that they don't care to. They make their Facebook icon the Ukrainian flag, and support the whatever the nuke thing is, and they don't look
the
at
current thing, right?
whatever the hell else is beyond that. That
It's
drives
when
me
Trump wanted to
crazy.
leave Syria, and then everyone's like, oh, well, what about the Kurds? And then when's the last time you heard anyone say anything about the Kurds? If it doesn't,
I made
doesn't push
poutine
the
last night.
narrative.
Cheese curds.
Cheese curds. Yeah, those are good.
Curds
That's
and
pretty
whey.
good.
It's the only kind of
It-
Kurds that matter anymore.
Yeah,
That sounds delicious.
get those fried.
So another one, number 6, civil war wrecks Sudan. They seem to always
Mhm.
be fighting. Terrible place.
I have an
They're
online
Italians.
friend in Sudan, and I've known him for probably like 10 years. And shit's got wild there, man.
So what's the deal?
Hmm.
Because if I hear that without really knowing about it, I just think that the predator class is setting two groups against each other because they have either they want them to neutralize each other and kill each other off, or they want one side neutralized and they have resources that they're after.
I suspect it's I haven't talked to dude in a while. I'm actually gonna have to send him a message. But it's basically just warlords fighting each other at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of going on.
Mhm.
I'm sure different ones are backed by different, entities, CIA, NSA, etc. Yeah.
Are a lot of them now Italians
Oh, yeah.
and Parisians and
I'm not. I think.
British.
I think my
and
buddy made it to Egypt,
Americans. Yeah.
so I'm sure they're going all over the place.
Right. And no, nothing. Peace and love. I want them to have a safe country, but
Yeah, all these poor innocent people just want to have a bloody life, and they're just constantly being bombarded with war. It's crazy.
It's almost like there's a country in that region of the world that's infinitely funded by other governments that has a lust for war across the globe.
and they
You
love
think?
dumping their trash in every Western
And stealing their
country.
minerals. It's often about the resources. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Number 5, artificial intelligence offers promise and peril. So AI basically burst into the scene largely this
Yep.
year, even though it was introduced late last year. But yeah, Pandora's box. And what was that guy, the Google guy that was sort of the foundational, is that his name? That ended up leaving Google because he could sort of see trouble ahead with the AI, and he was part of the development team.
I want to say
Probably
it was
another
like
character.
Sergey
what was his
Brinov or
name?
something.
Yeah, something like
Sergey
that.
Brin.
Right.
I saw it somewhere. Yeah. So that's a bit
I'm
of a
not
worry,
sure.
isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, and to just piggyback on that, there was the GPTs, right? There was Chaos GPT, Chat GPT, and all of these different platforms started having their own quote, AI
Yeah, they would
interaction.
create a different flavor of it to
Yeah.
be kind of
And
themed like something.
Then I think recently Twitter has done the same thing with their own version of like a Chat GPT kind of thing.
all right.
Justin, have you seen that at all?
I don't
Meta
follow.
GPT?
Yeah, I've never even used an AI. I don't really. I
No.
think it's all just a silly gimmick.
Yeah, no, this
You
is
might be
part.
right.
Oh, it's called Grok.
Grok. Oh, yeah,
GROK.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
So it says Premium Plus subscribers can now use our most advanced AI, Grok, on X. I am Grok, a humble AI assistant. Okay, it just
Sounds like a Neanderthal. Grok.
No, I'm Grok.
It's a reference to something. But
I'm
I can never
Grok.
know what it is.
it,
it's a pop
it does
culture
sound
Is
like
it an
Groot.
acronym? An acronym,
I'm
maybe?
Groot. It's possible.
Groot, yeah.
I am not sure, but anyway, so that is what that's supposed to be. So every platform is kind of having their own flavor of that.
Yeah. All got their own thing. So Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, resigned from Google this is in May, amidst growing concerns over AI. The so-called grandfather who gained his nickname for his pioneering work on the AI field resigned to help spread the word about the dangers of the emerging technology. Good one, mate.
Yeah. Way to get attention to yourself.
Way to go. It's just like Elon Musk. I'm just going to
Yeah.
make all this stuff and then warn the world about it. Brilliant.
I don't think that AI is what they're making it out to be. You guys remember when
Probably not.
everyone was worried about the metaverse?
Yeah.
The AI feels a whole lot like that.
I think the AI is way more useful than the stupid metaverse.
Well, yeah, but I think it's all just a gimmick that everyone is getting riled up over. I don't think that.
Sorry,
Go
Justin.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Didn't metaverse completely fall apart?
Yeah, I mean they're
thought
still throwing billions of dollars at it, but
yeah. But
I think
thought
they
nobody,
added arms recently. But yeah, no one cares about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for I actually don't think that it was. I'm not saying you're wrong, Justin. I'm not sure, but I do think that something that's concerning is the new smart glasses that Facebook is working with Ray-Ban that are like taking the smart glasses to a whole new level. So I think it'll soon be combining something like that with the big Oculus style goggles.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
it'll be a lot easier for people to use. I mean, maybe that technology will get better. I don't know.
It's just not. It's because I've spent a bunch of hours playing Oculus Quest, PlayStation VR. It's great. It's fun, but it's like you get bored of it quickly. It's a novelty. Like you go, oh, like this is cool, but like okay, now it's boring. I've done this. I need what's next.
Yeah, it's like the 3D movies. It's just kind
Yeah.
of a
Right.
gimmick.
That's a good equivalence. Yeah.
Yeah, I've said it before a few times. I think they've just given us the toy versions, really, for us to play with. So,
Yeah,
but
sure.
we just don't know what's possible, especially with this new neuromorphic technology. We don't know where that is already.
I say, think of it this way: it's like the in the movie The Matrix, where we're all just bodies that are an energy source. Like the people in
Yes.
charge, they have. I'm sure they have no moral quandaries with that actually being what happens. So it's. I lost my train of thought, but
I'm with you on that, though. I think there is a lot to be said about the collective energy, and they know it.
it's just like that would be a lot more effective than what anything else if that's what they wanted. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
That's why they
So
keep
you're
us in
saying
fear.
you'd be okay living in the Matrix?
I think we already are.
I think
Take the red
maybe
pill.
too.
Like,
I'll
look
continue.
around you.
Now,
Mm.
what if when one of us is approached by the Morpheus in the real world and he holds out his hands and they aren't red and blue pills, they're like yellow and pink or something, and we're like, which one were we supposed to take? Because this doesn't,
Let me help you out. Just take all of them.
Yeah, that's a meme, isn't it?
Oh, it's as someone
Did
like
you just take both pills?
if someone offers you pills, you say yes, thank you.
Okay.
Swallow now, ask questions later.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
I've got a thunderstorm starting in the back. We've been warned about the scary thunderstorms that are coming.
I think the universe is trying to tell us we need to stop because we're at the 2-hour mark here. And
Not quite. We've got about 7 minutes to go, and we're nearly at the end of this list.
6 minutes. Well, let's
get
room
there.
for one more story then.
Well, I'm just going to read out the last 4. So it's number
Okay.
4, US-China tensions continue to simmer. This is the list from the Council of Foreign Relations website.
yeah.
Number 4, US-China tensions continue to simmer. Number 3, Ukraine's counter-offensive gains little ground at a heavy cost. Number 2, Hamas attacks Israel. And of course, at number 1 is the global temperatures shatter records. So that's the big things, the
Of
climate
course.
change, because that brings in everything else, doesn't it? And you dirty peasants, it's all your fault.
You guys have seen the pictures of like 2019 summers, and then they'll do like a 2020 summer, and the temperatures are lower, but they just make everything look hotter on the map.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
color 'em red.
global warming anymore. It's climate change.
Oh
Get
yeah.
it right.
I was looking
It's
at some of
changing.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
colder now.
they haven't really been keeping records all that long, and if they choose to do things like going by the ice core samples, etc., that's already been proven. That's not how it works. That they say, it's all year by year and what have you. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's the thing. That's one of the things that always got me is when you look at those charts, they only go back to like the 1879 is when we were started to record, and they that's where they always begin, and it just shows an increase. And then, what happened 100 years before that? And
Yep. And I was looking at
and-
some of the. Sorry.
no, I was going to say I think the ice cores have a value to them. Those readings, those estimates and temperatures and stuff, so you can see back millions of years or however old you believe the Earth is.
That's debatable.
And well, there's value. I'm not saying they're accurate, but
Yeah.
I bet you can tell that the general temperature of the Earth was swinging in various directions based on whatever alchemical theories they use to determine that information. But
Climate change.
yeah, but it proves that we're not in any unusual climate shifts. It's just it happens all the time.
But
Absolutely.
also,
Yeah. Sorry, Justin.
don't plants need carbon dioxide to exist?
Yep. If it drops any lower than something like 0.2 of a whatever it is percent, stuff will just die off. But I mean, that's what they want, isn't it?
Well,
the amount of carbon in the atmosphere is very, very small. It's something like 2% or 4% of the atmosphere.
Well, don't worry, because all of our governments have their top guys on this.
Yeah,
They would never
Climate
get
change.
something like that wrong.
top men.
Bottom end too, eh?
Oh my God.
Definitely.
Did you guys do the story of the gay guys having sex in Congress?
Oh,
We
man.
didn't. We saved it for you.
Nah.
We did that on
Like
a different
It's just
episode, but yeah.
like how are people not watching this going best timeline ever?
I'm just watching from here. I'm just watching them root the whole country. So,
Yeah, I mean, grab a beer, like enjoy the show. It's not going to get any better.
Stels, Americans don't know what root means.
having sex. You don't know that? It's when you're rooting in the back seat?
No,
It's
I
not a
know
thing
what
over
it
here.
is. But it is not common vernacular for sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Didn't
Yeah.
realize
I'm
that.
thinking of
Well,
Groot now.
When I root, that's
Now,
the
are you
ultimate
saying,
pickup line.
Stella, are you saying rut, R-U-T, or root, R-O-O-T?
ROOT. Root.
Okay. Rooting around.
Like a wombat. It eats roots and leaves. Anyway,
I gotta never mind.
okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I realized something the other day that next year is Olympics is the 33rd Olympics.
Ooh la la. Curious
Ooh.
about that.
There's a lot of stuff about the Olympics and the United Nations and stuff.
Oh yeah. That's
Mm.
gonna be interesting.
And the logo, it sort of looks like a 24, but it also looks almost exactly like the symbol for Jupiter. I just noticed that this morning.
Oh, that would be cool.
Is that a Saturnalia thing?
Yeah, but everyone's looking at Saturn. It's Jupiter.
That's what Jen says, is that everyone thinks that they worship Saturn, but it's actually Jupiter. And then if you look at the colors that are associated with Jupiter, blue and white, then you have the Israel flag. You have like Mother Teresa types who are portrayed as heroes, but actually predator. And then there was one other, like Epstein
Yeah.
Island, the blue and white stripe building.
Yep. It's very
So-
Egyptian too.
Very interesting.
So
You know,
you guys are way
Yes.
more the expert on me, but are you sure it's not Uranus that they worship?
No, that the government does.
Definitely.
You know who
Can I,
also go ahead,
Go
Teams.
ahead, Gil.
No,
On my
I was-
SAT, they told me to write a book report, and I made up a book called "The Travel to Uranus."
Nice.
That's
And,
honestly, did you get a 1600? Because that's genius.
I did all right on the SATs, but I wrote about a book called "The Travel to Uranus"
That's
that I
great.
didn't read. Yeah, it was great.
Wait, that's an
And I-
actual
We
book?
did it. We did it,
The
guys.
other
No, I
the
made
other-
it up.
Okay. I was worried for a minute.
The other thing I was going to be impressed with is if you remembered a question from your SAT, because I was like, I don't remember anything from my SAT at all, except for not doing all that great.
I just remember writing about a trip to Uranus.
So
All right,
the
well-
important stuff.
Uranus.
I think.
Doesn't matter how you
Whoa.
say it. Sounds
going on?
bad.
What is this we're looking at? Oh,
Poor
the
Uranus.
Olympics.
Yeah, this is the Olympics logo, like on their official page. Is this the one you're talking
no.
about, Scylla?
Is
no.
this is that a hair, like a person's face?
No, that's a flame.
Yeah, the
It's
fire.
like the Olympic flame, you know.
It
It
looks
reminds me
like
of-
Sort of thing you throw
Hair.
babies into, you know.
It reminds me of
Yeah.
the bad guy from The Incredibles, like the flame head.
It looks like
Full
a
of
gay
symbolism.
flaming head about to suck some dick. That's what it looks. That's what I see. That's
Senate.
my Rorschach test. That's what I see.
I see the Senate floor.
I'm trying to find it. Anyway, if I find it, I'll whack it in the show notes there.
Sure. Paris,
No
otherwise known as
wuckers.
Africa. Do you remember anything from the PAP? No, I don't. I feel like that's probably some kind of a joke that I'm not getting. But to be fair, my brain is totally fried. So
And I would like to tip my hat to Ashley. Thanks for joining us because we thought we weren't going to have you. You've been a bit
yes,
under the weather, so
yes.
well done. We hope that you feel better soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Justin too. We're trying
And
to
Justin,
recover.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And anyone else out there who's feeling a bit shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of love and blessings to you.
I was going to say, you know who also has blue and white as their colors is the Not Your Mama's News logo.
Very true.
It's the wrong blue.
And on that,
She's got red shoes too.
choose.
She
Let's wrap
does.
this up, guys. I'm calling it.
right.
So I want to
Thanks,
thank
Dad.
Ashley and Stella and Ism Kant and Tunes for your news and insights. It was great. Great 2023, guys. I want to thank the listeners. And before Stella scoops me again, Ashley, where can our fans get in touch with the Union of the Unknowns?
Well, Kiel, I'm glad you asked. They can find us over at unionoftheunknowns.com. That's our Linktree page with all the myriad ways that our listeners can get in touch with us, as well as a link to our Discord where we would be very happy to have you. And you could find me over on Twitter, managing the Unknowns Twitter account at Union Unknowns. Back to you, Kiel.
Thank you for that, Ashley. Had a great 2023 with you guys and all the fans, all of our new fans from this year, and all of our collaborating shows, the WTF Forum guys and the Propaganda Report, and of course, everybody. Have a happy new year. We'll see you next year. We're the Union of the Unknowns, and we are out.
Yep, love your guts.
Good night,
Love
everyone.
and blessings.
Not Your Mama's News has been a production of the Union of the Unknowns podcast. New episodes are available weekly on all your favorite podcasting networks.